This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in Denver, Colorado. I'm here at Fresh Air Real Estate. Since 2013, they have been providing the best practices with the cutting-edge market knowledge so that when you buy or sell, you can do it with a breeze here in Denver. Jackie, let's start off a little bit with yourself. You're the managing broker as well as the owner. You've been over 12 years you've invested in the real estate industry. Share with me a little bit why you thought it was important to give folks a fresh perspective in the real estate market.
I worked with a few larger firms, and they were great experiences. I enjoyed them. I learned a tremendous amount. I think I just wanted to put my own stamp on it. I wanted to have my own brand. I wanted to have my own identity. I wanted to bring the unique things I do in my real estate practice, kind of create a whole company around those ideas, and ultimately bring on some agents and build a real estate empire.
That is fantastic. I mean, obviously, a real estate purchase, a home, is probably one of the biggest and most important investments most consumers make. Why is this a time in your life that you probably don't want to go it alone and not have a professional on your side?
I think it's vital to have a professional for something that is such a large financial undertaking, but also there's so many bumps and hiccups and potential valleys and pitfalls. And you need an expert. You need someone who's been there, who's done that, who hasn't just bought or sold their own home, who's sold hundreds of homes. I've never had two transactions the same. They're all unique. I think that's what's interesting about it. That's what keeps me coming back. That's what keeps me interested. But if you haven't been there before and you haven't done it, you're not going to have the skill set to know how to tackle those problems. And what I like to do is try and make sure it's as smooth and enjoyable and stress-free as possible. I think buying or selling a home can really be a fun undertaking, and I want people to get the joy out of it from making such a huge life change.
I mean, obviously, one thing is a fact right now is folks are flocking to Denver. So we've got people who are buying their first home here in Denver, and as exciting as that can be, it also can be very overwhelming. Like you said, is it important to you to relate and educate folks on each step of the process, and is that what kind of puts them at ease?
I think when you know what to expect, it's a lot less stressful. And I think especially if you're new to Denver, you're not going to have any idea where's the ideal place for you to live. And I think that's a process I really enjoy, particularly with people who are relocating to Denver, getting to know them, their lifestyle, what are they interested in, what kind of home are they looking for, what's their commute to work going to be, what style of home, what's their price point. That might dictate the area of town that they're going to be in. Not everybody's comfortable in every town. So we need to find the town that's the right fit for the buyer.
Once you have all those questions met, obviously, folks, we're concerned about the value of our money that we're putting forward, but we also value our time. I mean, share with me some of the technological solutions you're able to help folks zero in on some of that so they're not driving around needlessly.
I think it's technology, but I think it's also primarily interpersonal skills. When I'm showing homes, I want to make the most of our time. And so first of all, if we're going to go, we're going to go. We're not going to look at one house here or one house there unless something pops up and we know it's the ideal. We're going to cover some ground. I think I don't want to show someone 100 homes. I'd rather show them 10. But the process as we go, my communication with them, what do you like about the home? What don't you like about it? What fits your criteria? Some things I can search the MLS on, some things I can't. A lot of times it's just an emotional response to a property. And cluing in with your client on what's going to give them that pull to their heart, that's huge. Technology, there's so many avenues that we have for searching properties, identifying properties, and I think all of it is very, very helpful, but I think what really makes a difference is standing in that home and saying, I want to live here.
Like you said, an emotional pull to it. Let me ask you this. Once a person actually finds a home, now it's time to make the offer, possibly negotiate. How does a certified negotiation expert such as yourself really come into play here and able to help them through that process?
I think that's an interesting question because that's really changed as our market has changed. Primarily, I'm looking for solutions where everybody feels like they came out ahead. You got to give to get. And if you go in knowing that, it's not as much of a surprise when you have to give somewhere to get something else that you might want. In a market like we have now, that's a lot less possible, I think, for buyers. you are trying to make your offer as attractive to the seller as you possibly can. And in some ways, you may feel like you're leaving some of your needs and wants behind, but if it gets you the house, that's the hardest part in this market, is getting the house. Statistically, my buyers in competitive offer situations, we're the winning bid 75 to 80% of the time. And I think that comes from experience, from knowledge, from selling lots of listings and knowing what my sellers want, and turning that around from the buyer's perspective and telling them, here's what the seller is what's going to be important to the seller and what they're going to want and what they're going to need, and here's how you can give it to them and get that house.
That is great. I mean, obviously, it's very rewarding for you to put folks into their first home, but also rewarding is your specialty of working with investors, where the emotion is not so high and we're getting down to business. Is that an area that you're able to help?
Absolutely. I think in any property, it's important to know, if you're an investor, what's the cap rate? What is your return on your investment going to be? Is that property going to cash flow? What makes a unit attractive to somebody? I mean, rents earlier this year, they were increasing at triple the national rate. So Denver is in a particular housing crunch in that our home prices are accelerating and so are our rents. So I think buyers are finding themselves a lot of times between a rock and a hard place. And right now, inventory is just short. So it's the perfect time. If someone wants to invest in properties, then I can help them pinpoint where are they going to maximize their investment, and hook them up with property managers every step of the way. A lot of times, if someone's looking to maybe flip a property, I think experience goes a long way. I've renovated my home, my husband and I have. So we've done plumbing, electrical, HVAC, roofing, fencing, landscaping. When you've done it yourself, and you have a little bit of knowledge about what goes into it, what permits you have to pull, and working with investors to see what kind of bids are you getting. You can walk in and say, I think this is going to cost this. I think that's going to cost that much. Let's come up with a budget. It's all about the numbers. And if the numbers don't work, it's not a good investment.
As a graduate of the Realtor Institute, obviously helping a new investor that's never done it before, maybe know what to buy, like you explained. Not only that, but when to turn over a house, if it's possible to even flip it and make a profit. Are these all areas that new investors can also come to you with some questions?
Absolutely. Education is one of my primary goals. Again, I think the more you know, the more comfortable you are. And I can tell someone they're getting a good deal, but that doesn't mean they're going to believe it. It's when they believe it and they feel it that they know that I was their trusted advisor and I help steer them to the right property. I'm never going to tell somebody that a property is perfect for them if it's not one they're interested in. I don't have to live there. I don't have to manage it. I don't have to rent it. But if there's a good opportunity, I will absolutely present that to one of my clients and really be hands-on the entire process.
Like you said, you worked with larger corporations in the past when it comes to real estate, a lot of knowledge you brought with you. Now you're talking about a smaller team, a team that is really a more hands-on approach, personal experience. Yet at the same time, we're talking about third place in sales as well as transactions. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Tell me about that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a busy few years. Right now, I'm still a party of one. I still want to focus on the buying and the selling and being the best realtor I can be for my clients. And I think that's shown in the production and the sales numbers. Ultimately, I would like to bring on some agents. I think the more agents I bring on, that makes me shift more to the management side. And I still want to be in the trenches and have my hands in the deals. So I think I'll get there. This has been a fantastic market. It's been a very busy market. And I think when things slow down, I'll be bringing on another agent, which is exciting. But for now, I love being a party of one. I love having complete control over everything that I do. I'm definitely a bit of a micromanager. And so I like knowing that if it's done, I did it and I did it right and I did it up to my standards. So I'm excited to bring people on and show them how I do things and the formulas that I've found to find success.
That is wonderful. I mean, one of the things, as like you said, this market's exciting. Folks are moving into Denver, so therefore homes are moving. What about the flip side? Folks that are selling their home. How are you able to help them? Maybe they've thought about getting into a bigger home and they feel it's a good time to sell. Are you able to help them through that process as well?
Absolutely. I think one thing that I really pay attention to is prepping a house for market. Our market is smoking hot, but a house that doesn't show well still isn't going to sell as quickly or for as high of a price. The better a home shows, the more offers you're going to get, the higher the price is going to go. I always want to work within a seller's budget, but I do lots of hand-on assistance with staging, prepping the home, giving them tips. This needs to be painted. You should, look for things that the buyer's going to be looking for. Put yourself in the buyer's shoes. If my seller wants to go look at the competition and do some previewing and see how they have to show to beat the competition, then we'll do that. I think it's all about preparation, and particularly in our market, that first weekend you're on the market, it's got to be dynamite. Because if it doesn't sell that first weekend, that's a problem.
Absolutely. Like you say, first impressions are everything. How important is a comparative market analysis right at the get-go, making sure they're putting a price on it that is going to get out there, get sold, yet at the same time get the best value for them?
I think a market analysis is always key. You always need to see what's happening in the area and what the trends are. Pricing, lots of agents use lots of different strategies. I think it's more the kiss of death than ever to be overpricing in this market. You need to leave room for multiple offers, because if I've done my job on the front end, you're going to get multiple offers and it's going to drive up the price. But if we're pricing at the very top, a buyer's going to be a lot more hesitant about jumping into the fray because it doesn't leave a lot of meat on the bone. They don't have a lot of room to go. And the properties still need to be appraising. If a buyer is going out on a limb and saying, I'm going to give you the cash difference between the appraisal and the contract price, my goal, even as a listing agent, is to make that a $0 amount. I need to prove to my appraisers that this property is worth what the market is saying it's worth.
Excellent. Like you said, if you come to the table knowing you're both going to give a little bit, it's a lot easier, and that goes with price as well. Obviously, you said if you do your work on the front end, you're going to get some offers. Marketing is huge. I mean, that's one area where technology takes off, as well as what you do, which is networking, breathing, living real estate every day, knowing who's out there, who's looking for different homes. Is that something with a professional real estate professional like yourself is able to provide?
Absolutely. I think when it comes to selling a home, marketing, my background is public relations, marketing, and graphic design. I believe every home has a story to tell, and it's my job to write that story and to get someone out there in the audience, over the internet, however they find us, excited about that home and wanting to step in that home and see that home. So property websites, realtor.com exposure, professional photography, virtual tours, it's all huge. QR codes, text for information codes. That house needs to be out front and center. That house can't be a secret. Everyone needs to know that home story, why it's unique, and why it needs to be theirs.
Basically, like you said, Jackie, when a home is listed through you, it's got to be front and center. One of the areas that you're able to do that with is direct marketing that you're able to get out there with. Share with me a little bit how you've gotten creative there.
I think it's important to stay in touch with people so they remember who you are, what you're doing, what's going on, what properties you have selling, what are the trends in the industry. I want to educate people as much as I want to entertain them. So one of the efforts that I've made over the past 4 or 5 years, there's a lender that I've worked with for a very long time who I trust completely. I do all my own loans through her. Her name's Nicole Williams with Megastar Financial. She's with the Handsome Planning Group. She has 2 dogs and I have 2 dogs, so for 5 years we've been dressing them up and sending out postcards every month and keeping people pretty entertained.
That is great. That gets very creative on your end as well. Let me ask you, whether they're buying or selling, first home, third home, investment properties, turnkey solutions are what you provide. What do turnkey solutions mean to you?
I think turnkey solutions mean that my clients can agree that the plan that we've come up with together has their best interests at heart, and they know that I'm in the driver's seat, that I'm steering it, that I'm taking control, that I anticipate things that might happen. I can troubleshoot issues as they come up. They can be comfortable. They can relax. I've got it. I'll take care of them.
I've got it. I'll take care of them. Take a look at the bottom of the screen right there, folks. What you're going to see is their website. First of all, on the website, you can take a look at some of the services they're able to provide for you, but also take a look at the client reviews, folks that have been able to go through this process and enjoy it. Like she said, if it's done properly, it can be an enjoyable process, be it buying a home or selling that home as well. Take a look at her contact information is right there. If you're out there looking for a home, definitely sign up and be a VIP where she will actually send you the latest access to what is out there on the market. Like you said, the last couple of years have been Good, very busy for you. 2014, you were now awarded in 2015 an Excellence Award with a tune of $10.5 million. Tell me a little bit about this, being in control of that with just a one-person show.
I think being a one-person show, the great part about it is I'll take as much business as I can possibly handle. That's not as much business as tends to come in the door, which is a great problem to have. I have a great network of realtors that I can refer business to. I usually average about 10 million to 11 million in production a year. Some years that's 35 transactions, some years that's 40. I like to be busy. I pretty much work all the time, and it's my passion. I love it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't absolutely love it. And I love the people that I work with. I meet so many great people, and it keeps me on my toes. It's interesting. It's challenging. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. It's the most enjoyable thing I've ever done, and I love to be challenged like that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jackie. Basically, if you're looking for a breath of fresh air when it comes to real estate results, look no further. We're talking about Fresh Air Real Estate, began now in 2013. Jackie began this with over 12 years of experience in this industry, and basically going above and beyond is just her way of doing business. This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know. This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in Inglewood, Colorado. We are here at Your Green Contractor. Since 2011, they've been providing specialty facility construction to marijuana industry really across the nation. I'm here with Nathan, who is the president, founder. Thanks for joining us here today, Nathan. Let's start off a little bit about yourself. You began this niche of the company here in 2011, but really since 1997, you have been doing many projects out of this office. Share with me a little bit of how this industry, how it all got started for you.
We got a call from an architect that we worked with for years in 2011, and he asked me, rather sheepishly actually, if we would be involved in a dispensary project. And I thought about it for a moment, and I said, well, that sounds like a retail project to me. That's what we do. We'd be happy to. And we did. The project went well. That client asked us to do a grow project for them. That went well. They had a friend. Their friend had a buddy. We were off and running.
Wonderful. I mean, this is an industry really that is rather new. I mean, the cannabis industry itself here in Colorado, now spreading in other states. How does this type of construction differ from some of the projects you've done in the past?
Well, on the retail side, it's pretty much the same with an added emphasis on security. As it's an all-cash business right now, there are a lot of security concerns. In addition, their product gets tracked from seed to sale, and so on the sale side, that is included, and so there's a lot of extra camera work and inventory systems that go into it. On the grow side, it's very technical from an HVAC standpoint and also from an electrical standpoint, from cooling those lights that are used on the indoor grows. And so controlling that environment is the biggest thing that's different.
These two different faces, be it the dispensary on one end or the retail, like you say, to the grow side, are these areas that your company has helped on both sides of?
We have. There's a couple of other aspects as well. There's the infused products or the edibles, and we've built those kitchens as well. And then there's the extraction side that gets the product ready to go into the edibles, and so we've built those facilities as well.
Let's start off first of all with the grow facilities. Are we talking about indoor growing facilities? Are we talking about greenhouses, or a little bit of each here?
A little bit of each. Right now in the Denver market, we found that most of the industrial space is now gone. So most of the people are moving now towards a greenhouse type facility. But we've built both, and we've built more indoor so thus far.
This is really a turnkey approach that you're able to provide for folks from start to finish. You're there for them. Let's start off a little bit about the pre-project planning. Is this an important aspect to what you provide?
It absolutely is. I actually wrote a white paper about 1.5 years ago talking about the things that I'm looking for as I go into a new existing facility, what I want to see to make sure that it has the infrastructure that'll be helpful for them as they move forward with these projects. Things like power, water, wastewater, what's the structure of the building, what's the roof look like. There's things that can cost them tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars if the infrastructure isn't there.
So we're talking about companies that may take it from the ground up, brand new building, or taking an existing building. Much evaluation is necessary, obviously to save money down the line, I imagine.
True. Yeah, the more pre-planning we can do, the better, like it is in most projects.
One of the things that I see out there is we're talking about a team really that you've assembled here, a network of professionals. When you bring on YGC, you're really bringing on a team of professionals that can take you from the beginning to end. Is that what makes it really a dedicated team approach?
It does. We have one person in our office that is purely involved in the permitting and planning process with each of the jurisdictions. As you may or may not know, in the Colorado market, every jurisdiction is different. So Denver is different than Aurora, is different than Commerce City, and all of them are changing rules almost on a weekly basis. So it's a full-time position for us just to keep track of what they're doing.
I mean, not only is important the construction side of it, but really what is actually growing on the inside is something you're able to help with. We're talking about growing methods, lighting preferences. These are all things that your team is able to help with.
That's true, yeah, and we have a team around us that's outside of our company, the architects, the brokers, the bankers, well, there are no bankers, but the lenders, the specialty lenders, and things like that. We've been involved with all of those different aspects and can point people in the right direction.
So people need to know how the product's going in, out of the facilities. What about environmental concerns? Does that take place at pre-planning as well?
It does, and that's probably one of the biggest things right now. We're seeing things on the news about pesticide use and things like that, but the larger environment in general is what we need to control. At the end of the day, whether people are smoking this product or putting it in an edible and ingesting it, it's going into people's bodies. So we're treating these facilities as medical facilities.
That is interesting. I mean, quite honestly, the cannabis industry still is a cash industry, really. What about hitting budgets, setting budgets? Is that an important aspect?
It is. It's the same on every project, but even more so on these projects. There's so much money involved. Some of these facilities are so large that for an owner to not be open on the day that they said they were going to could mean millions of dollars a month in lost revenue.
This is an industry that I've learned is very regulated, almost overwhelmingly regulated. Really, by bringing on a team as yourself, you're really providing peace of mind when it comes to the building aspect of it.
We do. We treat these projects like we have the other 700 that we've built. So the timing, the budgeting, the scheduling, getting done when we say we're going to do, hit the milestones in between, that goes without saying and has to be done. One
of the things I've noticed is, like you say, you've got the building facility as well as the storefronts, but you're also talking about MIP kitchens you're able to help with, the extraction areas. Are these areas that people are finding that they're outgrowing and you're able to do rebuilds or even remodels?
Yes, on all fronts. We've actually built one facility and remodeled it again in a 6-month time frame. So some of these facilities are growing so quickly that they can barely finish the project that we're on before they're taking the space next door.
Excellent. Viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is their website. This is a company actually that's been in the construction business doing thousands of projects here in Denver since 1997. They began this niche here in 2011, basically finding out that there was a need here, not only in Colorado, but nationwide, state by state out there as well. Take a look at the website. You can learn a little bit more about their leadership team. Take a look at a lot of the clients they've worked with, many projects they have there you can view as well. And like you said, he mentioned earlier, you've got a white paper out there that you can download right there and take a look at for yourself. A lot of information right there for you. Possibly this is an industry that like you say, people need a little peace of mind and handheld to go through it. It's a new industry. One thing I've learned about the folks here, sitting down with many of them, is they want to make sure they really have a professional image out there. They're doing it quality, up and up company. By bringing on your team, this is just one more way they're able to do that.
I would agree. The days of growing in people's basements is over. We're talking about facilities now that are tens of thousands of square feet and many millions of dollars. So there's no place to cut corners. There's no place to do it partially. It all has to be done above board with transparency, and everybody needs to be welcome from the city and state regulation side to come in and look around and approve what's happening.
Excellent. What are some of the projects you've got coming up in the future? Are they all here in Colorado, or have you spread around the states?
We have spread around the states. We're licensed in 9 states currently, and we actually have a relationship with a builder that's licensed in all 50 states. So there are currently 23 states that are regulated for marijuana use, and we're going into all of them.
Excellent. Last time, viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen. That is your green contractor located right here in Denver, Colorado. Since 2011, we build, you grow. This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know. We hope we've enticed you to try something new this week. Until next time, if you know of a business who you feel the whole city should know about, nominate them, we'll send a reporter out. This is Gary Atencio from CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know.